Hey there everybody, and welcome back to Sasquatch Speaks. This is Sasquatch, otherwise known as Gavisas, welcoming you all once again to this dark little corner of the internet, which is oh so affectionately referred to as our own. On today's episode, we will be launching into the first part of our psychological analysis, whatever you want to call it, however you want to pronounce it even, because I clearly messed it up the first time. Our psychoanalysis of Gavi. As I said before, there will be links in the description if you would like to undergo these tests as well. I do not ask or require any of you to post results or even tell me if you went and took them. This is just sort of a curiosity thing, and see if any of you out there are likewise interested. Today's quiz is probably the least scientific that we will be, working on. I'm not going to be using, like, which fairy tale character are you, or what is your, I don't know. I don't even care. This one is just sort of something I found on the internet one time. It is probably the one I've taken the most often. It's fairly interesting in how it describes results and how one thing relates to another. It is called the Color Quiz, which you have probably already figured out by the title of this video. And the Color Quiz is a free 5-minute personality test based on decades of research by color psychologists around the world. There are no complicated questions to answer. You simply choose colors with a click of the mouse. Your test results are completely confidential, and we do not keep the results. Now, understandably, I was a little bit skeptical when I first found this thing, like, well, what is this going to tell me? So I did a bit more research by clicking one more link on the page. To wit, this test is partially based on research by Dr. Max Lucher, or Luche, I'm not really sure how to properly pronounce that name, during the early 1900s. He has devoted his life to the study of how color affects behavior and has been hired by some of the world's largest companies as a consultant. The test itself is based upon fundamentals in color psychology. With years of research by color psychologists, the characteristics of certain colors has been identified to cause an emotional response in people. This was done by studying the response from hundreds of thousands of test subjects around the world in order to isolate how certain colors make us feel. By doing the reverse, using the colors people prefer to determine how people feel, we can get some interesting indicators about a person's current emotional state. It is important to understand that the results from tests like this can be both short-term and long-term in their meaning. For example, if you are feeling depressed about something when you take the test, you may see this reflected in your results. You may also notice deeper conflicts showing themselves consistently. If you take the test time and time again, this test can be taken quite often and still yield results that are accurate. The results will not be the same each time you take the test for the most part, unless you are taking them without some time interval between them. The test is widely used in Europe and overseas. There are very few experts of Lucher's work in the United States, so for some of our American visitors, the notions behind this test may seem rather strange, but give the test a try and you will be surprised. Is the test reliable? We leave that to your opinion. We can only say that there are a number of corporations and colleges that use the Lucher test as part of their hiring and admissions process. It can be a useful tool for doctors and psychologists and is used to get a quick overview of potential issues patients may have in their lives. Almost made it to the end of that without screwing up. I was so happy. I almost made it to the end of the copy. I didn't make it. Darn it. Damn it. I was so close. Anyway. It says, please take the test and give it a try for yourself. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit while I actually take the test. There's two parts to it. First, you have to delineate what gender you are. I'm a male. Start the test. And then it pops up, and I believe there are 8 colors here. Yes, 8 colors, and you just pick them depending on which ones strike you the most. So I'm not going to tell you what my color selections are, because that would kind of defeat the purpose of it. Because then you just copy my answers. Hey, I can do what Gavi did. Yeah, you can get his results as well. But I'm actually going to read you my results in a little bit, so that'd be kind of self-defeating. And with that, I have made my selections, and then there's a little time that comes up to give you 2 minutes to sort of forget what you put down, because if you just put the same ones again automatically, or about through memory, then it perverts the accuracy of the test. So, as I was saying before, I've taken this test a lot. There was a point where I was even had like a weekly had it scheduled into my weekly thing where I was just like, okay, well, I'm going to take this test and see how I've changed or done anything else. And for the most part, there wasn't any change at all because, like the test said, I was doing it too close together, so there wasn't any time for significant change. But in the long run, I remember some of my original results, and like there has been some significant improvement in my current life and standings and things like that. And actually, today's test may be a little bit off. Because, number one, I just came out of a fantastic meeting, so my mood is a little bit more chipper. Plus, I was talking into the microphone and was therefore not able to properly focus on what I should have been focusing on. So, we will see what happens. I still have about 30 seconds left on here. Like I said, I've taken this a bunch of times. It's interesting. Not always accurate. I've recommended to a couple friends that they take it as well, and they mixed results. Some of them were like, "Yes, this is the greatest thing ever. I love it. Yay!" They are usually very introspective people like me, and then, well, most of them. There was one who I gave it to who was also very introspective, and they're like, "This didn't get me at all." I'm like, "I'm sorry, I didn't know." But there were some strong cultural differences there, which could have been it. Usually they peg me pretty close, but sometimes there's a differentiation or a discord in the results. So I am starting up my second run, or the second selection process, and I'm trying really hard not to remember what the colors are. But the thing is, I do remember what the order is that I picked the colors in, and so it's kind of like that. Just kind of stare at them, whichever ones just kind of jump off the page at you more. Go with that one, and then go on from there. Color test results. Thank you for taking the color test. In the next section, your results will be revealed to you. These results are provided as a fun way to examine your personality, but even though the results are very accurate, it's interesting that they go from, well, maybe they are to, they are very accurate. You should not consider them a diagnosis. See a doctor or psychologist for that. Thank you for sort of shooting yourself in the foot. But yeah, and totally contradicting what you just said. Processing request. Loading. Okay. Okay, this is actually fairly different from when the last time we took this, which would have been about maybe a year ago. Your existing situation. You work well with others. Needs personal relationships which are understanding and relatively conflict-free. I would agree with that. I've just had some relationships end, well, not just, but in the not too distant past, I've had some relationships end which were not good, so that makes some sense. Your stress sources. His normal, flexible, and stubborn... That's interesting. Seems very contradictory. His normal, flexible, and stubborn attitude has become weakened because he feels overworked, tired, and as if he is stuck in a rut. The situation seems helpless and is causing him to physically feel the strain. He is searching for a solution, but is unable to make a decision on how to go about making the changes. This is perhaps more unguarded than I want it to be. Your restrained characteristics. I wish I could read this before I have to read it. Feels he is not receiving his fair share and is unable to rely on anyone for support or sympathy. He keeps his emotions bottled up, leaving him quick to take offense to small things. He tries to make the best of his situation. I'm not sure if that's accurate or not. I don't know. Interesting. I could see how it could be that, but yeah, we'll see. Your desired objective. Has too many problems and difficulties in his life at the moment, causing reckless and foolish decisions to be made. He needs to find a better escape before he causes his own self-destruction. Now, that one I would say is pretty far off, because I don't make any decisions until I'm, actually really certain. Needs to find a better escape before he causes his own self-destruction. I also don't see that as happening, but perhaps that's just denial or something. So we'll find out. We'll find out. We're on the ride together, right? People watching. Like I said, there is a link in the description down below to take this test for yourself. Up to you whether or not you want to share your results. I just am because, if I'm going to recommend the test, I might as well share the diagnosis. Your actual problem. Feeling tension and stress brought on by situations which are out of his control. Leaves him feeling helpless, anxious, and inadequate. He tends to act out as a way of covering up his shortcomings and blames other people for his failures. Maybe part of that. Not all of it. Yeah, some part of it, I would say, yeah. I do my best, like, intentionally to not blame other people for when I mess up, so I would say that last part is just part of the written copy and just applies to everyone who picks those things. Like I said, this isn't perfect by any means of the imagination, so take everything you read with a grain of salt. Don't just, like, claim it as gospel, but, think about it. Fear of being, and your actual problem number 2, fear of being prevented from achieving the things he wants causes him to take advantage of all types of other experiences, but then denies any of them have value to him. His destructive behavior is his way of escaping and hiding the helplessness that he feels. Okay, gee. If we're gonna get really personal, my primary topic for the last several times, well, not primary topic, but recurring topic, has been money and not having enough of it. And here I am making internet videos rather than going out and making money. Okay. That one hurts. That one hurts a lot. I'll admit it, that was probably a lot closer to home than I wanted it to get. I was hoping it would just be like one of the... Why? What happened to the fluff pieces that were here the last time I took this test? Oh, actually, I know what it was. I know why they were fluff pieces the last time. I gotcha, because they were depressed. They didn't want me to commit suicide or something. But that's another story. Yeah, that was a thing. I may be ending this series right now. I'm not sure if I want to proceed, because that was really close to hitting the mark. And yeah, that's a little scary, because it's just 16 cubes altogether. Just click. There we are. This is your problem. Well, I'm not... Well... Oh, man. I'm going to leave that there. If you would like to take this quiz for yourself, like I said, there's a link in the description down below. You do not have to share your results. If you would like to as well, feel free to. I'm certainly not going to stop you. I would love to hear something back from all of you, the few of you that are still there. And yes, if you like this, if you want to help me, if you have any helpful suggestions, because clearly I need it. I'm in some very deep problems, apparently. I need to go be very introspective, which is kind of what this is all about. But, yeah, leave a like rating down below. Comments, anything of the sort. Dislike rating if you just don't like me. And nasty comment to accompany that. And I will see you all next time, or tomorrow, with a different personality quiz, which may help people understand how I go about forming the thought process to get out of situations like apparently I'm in. Like I said, that last one's very, very accurate. So, yeah. Interesting. Anyway, I will see you tomorrow. Goodbye.